of God. Not anything that you've done, but your actions. So I'm here to tell you, you don't have any children, you don't have a husband, you don't have a wife. You're imparting something into someone else. Okay? You are doing what God's called you to do. You will see that today in America, we're going to spend a lot of money on flowers and cards and candies. We're going to stand in line, and we're not going to gripe and complain about standing in line to go eat at a restaurant. But I can promise you, you won't have to stand in line here very long to eat. Today we honor mothers. Today is the day that our country honors mothers. And you can get the history, and it goes back to the early 1900s that they started giving a day for moms. Same thing on Father's Day, a day that we set aside for that. But in reality, every day we should be honoring our moms. Every day we should be honoring our dads. Every day we should be honoring one another. Because there's going to come a time that it's going to be a big party. Guess what? When you get to heaven, you ain't going to have to minister to one another. Because you're going to have the minister ministering to you, and it's going to be done and over with. All you're going to be now is you're going to be reaping the benefits of what you've been doing here on earth. So we should be doing this daily to our moms. We should be honoring our moms daily. The women in our life. The women in our life should be honored daily. It looks like, let's look at a few things that, women, moms deserve. Okay? I think moms deserve obedience. When mom says go clean the bedroom, I think you should go clean the bedroom. No question. Jack, put your dirty clothes in the white hamper, not in the low hamper, in the big hamper, the tall one, not the little one. The little one's for ironing. That's your ironing basket. The big one is for your dirty clothes. And that way I don't put clean clothes on top of your dirty clothes. Because usually when I come from work, I'm pretty sweaty and things of that nature, and she'll end up having to do double work. So I should be obedient and do what she asks me to do. It's easy. Ephesians 6:1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. If you want to take parents out, say your mother. Say mothers. Remember, Pastor Laura, she did a thing where we make it personal last week. That I pronoun, and get rid of the I pronoun and say Jack. Okay? Jack, obey your mom. Luke, obey your mom. Brother, I do. If not, I feel the wrath. Yeah, make it personal. Colossians 3:20. And Miss Deb's going, Colossians 3:20. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing to the Lord. It doesn't say it's well-pleasing to her. It's well-pleasing to the Lord. See, when we do not honor and we disrespect our parents, we're disrespecting the Lord. He's the one that's going to end up being upset overall. But the good thing is those of us sitting in this room, we can just ask for forgiveness, and we know, hey, ask him for forgiveness, then run and tell mom, hey, you know what? Forgive me for doing that. I should have been obedient. I should have listened to what you said. Solomon, I said I'd like to be like Solomon. Solomon was the best counselor, I think, in the Bible. Even though Jesus is called our mighty counselor. Okay? But I think Solomon gives us so many nuggets that if we would just do what Solomon told us, we would probably live a pretty good life. You know what I mean? So in Proverbs 1:8, Proverbs 1:8, okay? My son, hear the instructions of your father and do not forsake the law of your mother. Dads let you get away with things. Mom lays the law. And stepmoms can really lay the law. Angel does a great job with Dominique. I'm such a bull in the china shop when it comes to her. She could have a great day, and I come walking in the door, and I say one word to her, and it's gone. And Angel just looks at me like, we've had such a good day, and you come in and The same way. And you're like, and I'm like, oh my, what did I say? But moms have a way of communicating with us that makes us receive it all. Amen? Luke 2:51 and 52. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject to them. But his mother kept all things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in fear and favor with God and man. Here we see that Jesus was still being taught by his mom and dad all the way through. Well, I'm 21 and I got the world all wrapped up in my purse. And I know what's going on. Really. I kind of like to kind of poke and prod around things. But you know, I would really like to know what Jesus was doing from about 12 to 30. And I can guarantee you he was under somebody's thumb. And I imagine it was a woman. I imagine it was a woman saying, this is the way. Hey, I know who you are. But you know, I brought you in this world. And I can take you out. Ain't that what we hear, fellas, from our moms? Hey, I brought you in here, boy. I'll say, ain't nobody hitting my kid but me. But I would really think of the studying that goes on. If us children could understand our parents, our mothers specifically, you think about the things that we learn in that short amount of time. If we're obedient to listen to what she has to say. So we see that, you know, we need to obey our parents. Could you imagine if Jesus didn't obey? Man, he might not be here today. He might have sinned. Jesus would have never sinned. We don't know that. We don't know what his mother imparted into him. We don't know what God imparted into her. We don't know what God imparted into Joseph to teach Jesus on this earth. Because he learned, he had to come here to know what we were going through. He was tempted just like we were tempted. But I think his mom and dad had his earthly mom and dad had a very strong opinion about the way he was raised. If they knew that he was really Jesus and he was all this in the bag, he was all that. When they lost him and he was in the synagogue, they wouldn't have been worried about him. Oh, he's gone. He's going to go do his Jesus thing. But no, they were worried. They went looking for him, as any of us would be if we lost our son or daughter. That mom was frantic. Where's my boy? Joseph. He was just as frantic as she was. Where's my son? Some people want to split hairs on his. Joseph was really his dad. I was his earthly dad. We have to get to that place where we honor and respect our mothers and our fathers. The second one is respect. Philippians 6, 2 and 3. Philippians 6, 2 and 3. No? I'm sorry, Ephesians. Ephesians 6, 2 and 3. Sorry, I'm a little dyslexic this morning. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. Exodus 20 and 12. No? All right. The gremlins got into the computers this morning. Honor your father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God has given you. So when we look here, we're seeing that's because we respect, we're going to live lifelong. He's going to give us things. He's going to give us promises. As I said, promises are there for us. But we got to go and find out what the promise is. You think about the movie Courageous. When the black police officer takes his daughter to the restaurant and gives her that ring, it's like a promise ring if you really think about it. He said, but if I want you to wear this, and remember, I promise that if you allow me to be in your life, I will make sure that the man you marry is a godly man. Same thing with us. If we seek out his word, we will find those promises, and he will give us our heart's desire. But we have to seek out the promises. Proverbs 20:20. Whoever curses his father or his mother, his lamp will be put out in deep darkness. It's telling you, don't honor. Don't do these things. There's a promise there. But remember I said I don't believe that everything in the Bible has to have thou shalt or thou shalt not. This is one of those promises, even though the word promise ain't there. It tells you if you do these things, where your lamp's going to go. And it's going to become dark. Respect our parents. Respect our mothers. Affection. 1 Kings 19:20. And he left the oxen and ran to Elijah and said, please, let me kiss my father and my mother. Then I will follow you. And he said to him, go back again, for what have I done to you? See, we understand all the way back to the Old Testament that there's an affection between a son and a daughter and a mom. And I'm going to use dad because I think they're one. And when I do Father's Day, I'm going to do the same thing. It's moms and dads. It's dads and moms. It's a union. It's a union. It's a covenant. I'm sorry, not a union. It's a covenant. They are one. People really get upset with that one, but that's what it is. He says you will cleave and become one. You are one. If mom says no, dad says no. Don't run and ask dad, because dad should say what mom said. Mom said no. Did you ask your dad? No. Okay. What did mom say? Mom said no. Mom said go ask dad. Dad said what mom said. Mom said no. Dad says no. We have to get to that. Guess what? If God told you don't walk down that street, and you walk down that street, is it God's fault because something happened to you? No, he told you not to go there. One of the truck drivers, I haven't heard from him in a long time online, but he talked about going down the highway at 65 miles an hour, and he goes, Lord, I want to turn to him. The Lord says, no, I want you to stay on there. So he's riding over the median, beep, 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 beep. We know them little things that slow you down. And he had to get back over into the lane because God told him not to. He went to the next truck stop about 15 miles down the road, and what happened? He got to lead someone to the Lord. If he would have stopped back there, who knows what would have happened? Guy down here at the what is that, the 110, the Pinion? There's a bridge coming northbound. Truck drivers can't get underneath that thing. See, if you get off at the 110, you're stuck, because you ain't getting underneath that bridge. And we have seen truckers get stuck in that bridge because they think they can make it. That's the reason why there's a height. I'll tell you what that height is. See, if you're disobedient, things are going to happen. But here we see that with that affection that comes from children to their parents. When we have the affection, it leads to godly wisdom. Proverbs 10:1. A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother. I think us dads, we can just blow things off where mom, where did I fail? Where did I go wrong? Why did they do that? Why did they go down this road? I never went down that road. And mom gets that way. Proverbs 17:25. A foolish son is a grief to the father and bitterness to her who bore him. Okay? Bitterness is